Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope you're having a very, very good Friday wherever you are on the planet. To my right is Jay. You know who he is, and we're here to discuss last night's victory. Is boring football acceptable at West Ham and more? Jay, how are you doing, mate?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. It's Friday. You've pulled the tunes out on a Friday. The working week is done. West Ham have just won twice in 6 days. And
Yeah.
hopefully everyone can see me today. Hopefully we haven't got any visual audio problems for once. That would be nice.
No,
Otherwise, I'm good, mate. How are you?
all good, mate. All good. Listen, it's got to crack on with life. It chucks its challenges at you. You just got to stand firm and carry on, ain't you?
Mm.
Last night, excellent win. Good result. What did you make of it?
Um, it was pretty much exactly what I expected. We'd obviously we talked on Tuesday, Wednesday. I can't remember, mate. It's all
Yeah.
a blur. But we talked about what we thought the starting lineup was. I would have played if it was me four at the back and brought Evan Ferguson in. He obviously went unchanged, which we talked. This could be something that he decides to do. And I wasn't shocked. I wasn't offended. I thought fair enough. Like, don't change your winning team. Makes perfect sense. No issues at all. You then come to what was, I thought, a brilliant first half performance. I thought we were absolutely excellent in that first half. We controlled the game. We had loads of the ball. We were patient. I thought standout performer was James Ward-Prowse for me. I thought he was absolutely
Excellent.
brilliant once again. He's had 2.5 games now. I think he's been up there for contending for player of the match in each of them. He was dropping into the number 6 position to take the ball off the centre backs. He was the spare man looking to spray the ball around. I think he plays the initial ball for our first goal, which him occupying those positions means Souček can get further forward, which results in him getting his goal. It all pieced together really, really well. I was gutted for Mo. I was really, really gutted for Mo. He obviously gets the first touch for the first goal, saved by the keeper. You probably lost out on a few quid for it.
Yes.
He needed that confidence booster. It was a bit of a quiet performance from him, but it was kind of to be expected with the system that we played. We obviously get the second goal. Again, it was all one-way traffic. I think maybe the first 3 minutes Leicester were in the game, but we get into the game. We get into halftime 2-0 down. 2-0 up, sorry, not 2-0 down. And all is good. All is good. Go down, have a beer with Lucas, chat to some Irish lads who recognise us from the channel. Shout out to those guys. Gutted we didn't get an Evan Ferguson goal for them. But, so be it. Then we come to the second half, right? And again, the title of the video is quite apt. It seems to have been a bit of a debate. I've only just caught up with it over the last 15 minutes or so, probably about an hour or so. I've been catching up with people's reactions to the second half. It was obviously slow. It was obviously a very professional performance. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with anyone that says it was boring, right? Because it was boring. But in my opinion, it was exactly what we needed. We said before the game, the most important thing was 3 points yesterday. I thought we'd done enough in the first half where we're 2-0 up. Leicester offered absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But is there a element here that you have to really go for the throat of Leicester and really make a statement? Like, don't get me wrong, there's winning a game, and I expected West Ham to win, but fuck me, it was boring last night watching that.
Yeah, and so be it. So to your point, and this is what I said before the game, right? I said next season, what I would expect us to be doing to teams like that is rolling them over, waving them goodbye, sending them back up the M1. I would expect that next year. We go in 2-0 up against the team equivalent to Leicester next year because they won't be in the Prem. I would expect us to turn them over 4-0. If we look at the situation as it was, we've just played 6 days ago. The players have absolutely emptied the tank against a team that were competing for the title, who now no longer are. You look at what we've done in the first half. We've controlled the game. We've scored twice, and we've done enough to win the game in the first half. And you look at what is Leicester's only threat. Leicester's only threat is Jamie Vardy on a counter-attack. And we know he loves a goal against us. So as far as I'm concerned, we did more of the same in the second half. We kept it slow. We kept it compact. We kept it very, very sensible and very, very pragmatic. I'm not saying it's like blown my mind as to how great we were in the second half, because we weren't great, but we didn't need to be. We just needed to not concede a goal. And in my opinion, that is absolutely fine. 2 wins in a week. I've got no complaints about what I saw whatsoever. We can nitpick about the way that we went about it, and I'm you know, I'm always happy to sit here and talk about elements of the performance and go into the tactics and stuff, because I enjoy those conversations.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, we were desperate for another 3 points against a team that's struggling, and we delivered that. However we delivered it, I don't really care personally.
I don't know about this one. I don't know. There's an element of performance, and this is the thing that I had 18 months ago, right? With Moyes in, Moyes out, shit, consistently. He used to set up like that to a point, in a sort of system where it was more defensive than attacking. Now, I have this argument quite a lot, and I'm going to say it again to a point, is that when you're at home against Leicester City, do you really need five defenders against Leicester City? I know tactically it might work, but we need to be on the front foot. Like, yeah, we scored a scrappy first goal, really. Good move, good ball in from Cresswell, scrappy goal to a point, but decent-ish finish. The second goal was a good bit of work from Bowen, yeah, but there's never we're never carving teams up and opening these teams up, Jay. And that's the problem I've got. Listen, I was never against Moyes' style of play to a point, because it had won us a trophy. Yeah. But on this one, I do think, like, you've got to, I don't mind playing 5 at the back away from home against a big 6 side, but do you think it's right to play 5 at the back at home against the bottom side?
And I'll agree with you to a point there, because before the game, I said I would have started 4 at the back. For me personally, I totally subscribe to that, and I'm totally happy with the idea that yes, we should be taking it to Leicester, because I wanted us to go in at 2-0 up, and I wanted us to be winning the game at halftime and winning it comprehensively. We were winning it at halftime comprehensively, having played 3 at the back, and we had all of the ball, and we ended up with 58% possession at the end of that game. So when we go to what you've described as a defensive style in the second half, it was the same style as what we were playing. We just weren't as necessarily expansive going forward, because we didn't need to be. And like, if we have this conversation against the same opponents next season, I'd have a different opinion. But let's just look at the situation that we're in at the moment, right?
Right.
We had a transfer window last summer that we've been told the majority of those players aren't good enough. We're riddled with injuries. And if you go through the starting lineup last night, right? So if I look, I've got the starting lineup in front of me, Alphonse Areola. And if we go through what our fan base, what I've seen on social media and what you'll hear from a lot of our fan base, right? Alphonse Areola, not good enough to play for West Ham. Wan-Bissaka, not good going forward. Jean-Claude Stebo, not good enough. Max Kilman, overpriced and not good enough. Aaron Cresswell, too old, shouldn't play for West Ham again. Ollie Scholes, I've seen a conversation on Twitter not long ago that Ollie Scholes should be going out on loan to the Championship next season. Deluded. Edson Alvarez, Mexican thug. James Ward-Prowse, not good enough. Thomas Souček, shit, doesn't offer anything going other than scoring chaos goals. Jared Bowen, brilliant. No one can say anything bad about Jared Bowen. Mohamed Kudus, not good enough. Would accept 60 mil for him. So if we look at that on face value, and you look at what our fans think of our players and then expect in terms of a scoreline against another Premier League side, it doesn't match up, mate. It just doesn't match up. I think people at this stage under Potter have to be realistic about what they're looking at. Potter's done enough where he's won the game in the first half. Just don't concede. It's that simple. So people saying it is boring in the second half, I'm fine with it. He did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, but I get that argument. Yeah, I do understand what you're saying. You've got to be a bit more sort of in-game management. But like, so when do you go for it then? That's the question. Because I used to have this debate a long time ago when like we used to have people, even when Moyes used to set up with 3 at the back. I remember it in that season, the season when we nearly went down. Yeah, he set up with 3 at the back with wing backs, and we just couldn't get going. Yeah. Leicester was shit last night, and we didn't really carve them up. Really, if I'm being honest, like we didn't open them up at all. Really, if I'm being honest, like when you look at the goals that we scored, they weren't that one good bit of play from Cresswell and an individual sort of bit of brilliance from Bowen. Other than that, apart from Ferguson's shot in the second half, I remember like we didn't do nothing else in the second half. And I know we didn't. I know we don't have to do anything, but when do you open it up and go, come and then let's see what we got.
But answer me this then, James, because I agree with everything that you're saying, but I'm of the opinion that how are we going to, like, who on that pitch was going to just open them up and tear them apart? Like, who out of that midfield three, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse and Souček, is going to get on the ball and dictate the game and tear them apart in the second half? Because I thought Ward-Prowse was excellent, but he was dropping in deep and playing the balls around. I got nothing bad to say about any of their performances, but how are we going to open them up is my question.
4-2-3-1.
But why would we need to at half time? Like I don't understand the benefit of it personally.
I get that. Like, but how can I put this? You have to sort of show a development stage. Do you know what I mean? Listen, there's winning games of football, and I'm with you on it, yeah, because I care about West Ham winning games of football by any means necessary. But with the talent that we've got, I don't think last night was good enough in that sort of performance level. But I think we've got to be a much like Newcastle coming up in the next game. We've got to be a lot better than that. Like in the attacking third, we've got to be able to we've got to open this team up, yeah, because they're going to come forward. And like for me, like I care about the W, but I went through all this shit like 18 months ago with Moyes, right? And I don't want to go back there again, if that makes sense.
But let's look at it this way then, because I totally agree with you. I think we're like on the same page, but look at things from a slightly different perspective here.
Yeah.
We played Leicester at their place. We played 4-2-3-1. We played them off the park and we got pumped 3-1.
Yeah.
We played last night. We played a more pragmatic style. We played three at the back. We were solid in midfield. And we relied on what I actually think was a really good piece of football leading up to the first goal, with Ward-Prowse playing it out, Bowen and Souček's into Yeah, and I don't think it's that scrappy. Like Cresswell has a shot, Kudus gets there, keeper saves it, and Souček tucks it away. I think that's brilliant football, personally. I think that's a really well worked goal. So would we rather be playing 4-2-3-1 against the team that we should pump, have 30-something shots on goal and then lose, or play a pragmatic style against the team that we should pump, go 2-0 up, and then just go, cool, we've done enough, and let's just kill the game off?
So basically then, in a roundabout way, it's you're looking at it as a results-based, yeah. And listen, I'm always for the result first. I care about West Ham winning, yeah, by any means necessary. The only thing I will say about last night is it just felt like it had no, right, you've just come off a great win against Arsenal. You're at home. The fans need to be given something this season, yeah? And then you go 2-0 up. I'm thinking second half, come out. You can afford to take off Alvarez and bring on Ferguson and go 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 with Kudus, Bowen and Ferguson up there and really like getting some goals. You know what I'm saying? But it just felt flat. Like even when the substitutes come on the 60th minute mark, the complete drop from where we was in that game to once the subs come on, which didn't really make a lot of sense. I'm going to be straight, but what did you think of the subs?
I disagree. I think they're fine. So look at this, right? So the players that come off, Emerson came on for Scarles. Scarles played 90 minutes and emptied the tank against Arsenal and probably only had an hour on his legs, so he needed to come off. Alvarez come off for Soler. Ward-Prowse and Souček were offering more in that system. And Alvarez was just going box to box. He didn't do a lot on the ball because he didn't need to. Ward-Prowse was the player who was dropping in, getting on the ball. Souček was the player getting forward and getting closer to the two forwards who were drifting a bit wider and playing in the channels. So I had no issue with Alvarez coming off for Soler because there's no one better to bring on than Soler to do that, to just run around for a bit. So I had no issue with that. Mavropanos come on for Todibo. Now, I've seen people arguing about Mavropanos getting booed when he came on. I've seen people denying that it happened. I was there. It happened. Like, I heard it loud and clear around me. That is an absolute disgrace, an absolute embarrassment from our fans that were booing that man that came on. He's not had a good season. I said from the start, he should be fourth choice centre-back at best, and we should be looking to move him on. He's played. He's not played well. He ain't doing it on purpose. No one deserves to get booed for coming on. He come on for Todibo because Todibo's clearly not fully fit yet. He still only had an hour in his legs. I thought he was excellent. He came off. Mavropanos came on fine. Ferguson then comes on for Kudus. Ferguson didn't do a lot, and I'm reading that we shouldn't get Ferguson. He's had 3 substitute appearances when he's not fully fit, and he looks like he's low on confidence. So give the man a chance. We've got 11 more games for him to get up to fitness and prove that he should be a West Ham player moving forward. As far as I'm concerned, the fans criticising like this, criticising that, criticising the performance, criticising the substitutions. When will people be happy, mate? Like honestly, I have no idea when people will actually be happy.
I just feel, for me, I can't speak for anyone else. I'm going to speak for myself. I watched it last night and it felt like the handbrake was on. And I'm thinking to myself, to let the handbrake go and let's see what we've got. You know what I mean? Because there's going to come a time where we're going to play one of these sides and we're going to go 1-0 down. And I need to see what firepower we've got to turn it around. Like, I don't think, have we turned the game around this season from 1-0 down? I don't think we have.
But I would agree with you, mate. But then what's the benefit in trying to turn a game around that we're already winning? Do you know what I mean? That's my point.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Have we been 1-0 down this season? And basically, have we turned the game around this season? I don't think we have.
Probably
not one.
No, probably
not one. But the thing is, there's going to come a time where we're going to have to be in that situation where we need to see what we've got. Like the way we're playing at the minute in these 2 games. Now I can accept it in the Arsenal game because they're going to come forward, and I don't mind that. Like, I really don't mind it at all because they're going to come forward. Like, you make it hard work. You play the dark arts, and you try and get the result. The flip side of that is the Leicester one. The Leicester one is like, oh, I'm expecting, right, you're at home. You need to be on the front foot consistently. I thought the effort of the boys was excellent, but it's just, it just felt like the handbrake was pulled up and saying, right, we're just going to basically do what we have to do here, sort of thing, if that makes sense.
So in my opinion, I think we learned more from playing in that way than we would have learned from, and let me make 2 things clear here. Than we would have learned from bringing Ferguson and Guilherme on at 60 minutes and changing the formation. And I'll explain why, because you know me, I'm the biggest Luis Guilherme fan that there is out there. I really want Evan Ferguson to prove that he's worth becoming a West Ham player permanently, because I think he's a player and I think he will prove it. If he has enough time to prove it at West Ham, I don't know. But he will go somewhere and he will be a top player. But I think we learned more from playing a really, really smart, well-executed game away at Arsenal and winning the game 1-0 and then going and playing this style at home against Leicester where it was pragmatic, it was sensible, it was very well executed in the first half. And then we proved that we can shut up shop. It doesn't matter about the quality of the opponent and what we're capable of doing and what we need to prove when we're trying to turn a game around from where I'm sitting. But we learned more from going 2-0 up and then going, cool, now come and break us down. And Leicester couldn't break us down. And because we didn't need to go and be expansive.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Hit me.
I think you know what I'm going to say.
Hit me.
Is this any different to what it was like? If this is what it's going to be like with Potter, is it any different to what it's like with Moyes?
I'll tell you why it's different, and this winds people up as well. Everything about the style of play winds everyone up, and so I see this a lot now. Right, this is why it's different to how it is under Moyes. We had 58% possession last night. We completely controlled that first half, and towards the end of, I can't think of any specific examples, but towards the end of life under Moyes, we'd be playing against the bottom half side and we'd struggle to get 50% of the ball, and it was dull. It was really, really dull. So we've switched, and this is where you'll see the difference in Graham Potter is he's changed styles. He's played the same team, but he's changed styles. So we had probably 40% of the ball, maybe 38 against Arsenal, I can't remember. And then we've gone and had the best part of 60. And I see people on the timeline complaining about sideways and backwards passing. We're 2-0 up against Leicester. We're playing a possession-based style. If you want to just constantly try and play balls through, you're going to give the ball away. You're going to keep giving the ball back to Leicester. They're going to keep coming at you. We're 2-0 up. And people are complaining about sideways and backwards passing. I need people to get this in their heads, right? If you want possession football, and if you wanted Graham Potter to come in because he's going to play possession football, you are going to see a lot of sideways and backwards passing, because that's how you set up. That's how you do it. If a team drops into a low block, you've got 2 options. You either try and force a ball through or over the top, or try and play a crossing, or you go backwards, you reset, you leave your two centre-backs back, you have your attacking centre-back, which is Aaron Cresswell, pushing forward, which, lo and behold, was how we scored the first goal, and you recycle, and you go back into your attacking shape, and you try and find a different angle of attack. We didn't play crosses into the box. I saw Wan-Bissaka getting criticised because he couldn't beat his man and he didn't play any crosses. We had no fucker to aim at. Who are you going to aim at? Mo Kudus. He's 5'3". Like what are you supposed to do? So what you do is you go backwards, you try and draw players out of position, and you change the angle. If anyone complains about sideways and backwards passing again, I'm literally just gonna start tearing my beautiful hair out.
Oh, right, Jay, carry on for 1 minute. I've got to let the missus in. All right.
Fine, go on. Right, so chat, and tell me if I'm going nuts here, right? But as far as I'm concerned, possession football is no problem. This is what you're going to get. You're going to see people knocking the ball around. You're going to see us playing slow. And answer me this, like anyone, who was going to break them down last night? Who was actually going to break them down? You look at Alvarez, you look at Ward-Prowse, you look at Souček. Who out of those players is going to play a killer ball that goes over the top, through the centre-backs, round the side? There's nobody. The only player that would have had the capability of doing that is Lucas Paqueta. But then when he tries it, every fucker complains about the fact that he's trying to force it and he's giving the ball away constantly. There is no pleasing our fan base. I swear down.
Let me ask you something though, Jay. Let me ask you this, right? But when do you look here and say it ain't right? I know, like next season, because one thing I am going to say is that this is the way Potter's going to set up. Like this is it. Like what we're seeing right now is it. 3 at the back, wing backs, a sort of possession-based game. How long does that last before people start getting rattled by that? Because
I think it happens now. I think people are going to start going now. And like and honestly, it's rare that you see me on this channel like getting heated, right?
I know.
But I'm so fucking annoyed at some of the stuff I've read in the last hour that this is exactly where we're going straight back to where we were 2 years ago. Like it is that simple.
And I don't want to go back there, mate.
Me either. I don't want to go back there because I won't even name the bloke that was in charge because I can't be asked to deal with that in chat. I can't be asked to deal with anyone's opinions on that. We're past that now. But there's a lot of similarities, as you were saying. There's a lot of similarities. Potter will be pragmatic when he has to be. Last night was a night where he set up pragmatically, and worst case scenario, we're 1-0 down. We're 2-0 down at half time. Cool, change the formation. No worries. It didn't work. Then you bring on Evan Ferguson. Then you start like becoming more expansive. Maybe you bring on Luis Guillaume. Maybe you go to 4-2-3-1, and then you start a different angle of attack and you try and break them down. That's no problem. But people are going to get frustrated that Potter's setting up pragmatically. You've got to be pragmatic sometimes. Like he's shown his tactical nous for me in that he's set up with this really intelligent defensive setup against Arsenal. It was mid block, then it was high line, and then it dropped deep when it needed to be. And then in the second half, when we so here's the thing as well. When Arsenal went down to 10 men and we're 1-0 up, should we have taken the handbrake off then, playing against 10 men? Like, surely we should have been more expansive and gone after him. We didn't because we needed to be pragmatic. And that's the sensible thing to do.
Yeah, but there's two sides of that. There's two sides of that coin for the Arsenal game. If we sit back and we concede, people will look at that and go, why the fuck didn't we not go for it and kill the game off? Like, it's all personal preference of what you see in the game of football. Now, for me, with the Arsenal game, 1-0 up, yes, we was doing the job, but it only takes one fuck up and then we give a goal away, and that goes from being a win to a draw, which feels like a loss. If that makes sense. So there's two different angles on that side. The only thing I will say about the Leicester game is that from minute one, I'm expecting us to be full throttle and go straight for this team. Like I watched them against Brentford the other day; they were shit. So it's one of them ones. But Adam wants to come on and have his say. Obviously, he's heard the passion in your voice, Jay. So he wants to have a say. So
hit me, Adam.
Adam, what you saying?
Hello, chaps. How you doing? Jay, mate, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I think there's a lot of unnecessary worry, I think, in Potter's style of play at the minute. I mean, let's not forget I know it seems very unlikely at the moment, but let's not rule it out. Relegation is still staring over our shoulder, so we need to make sure we get results to stay away from that. I always felt that, I think people are a bit bemused by Potter's style of play at the moment, but I think he has to adapt to this in a temporary way for him to build what he wants to build in the summer. So the most important thing is that it's not about winning games, but it's about not losing them and making sure we're a hard to beat side. Because we've been beaten far too easily this season under J-Lo. So I think Jay, you've got every. I think what you said is bang on, mate. I can't disagree with anything you said. I think it's right.
Go on, Joe.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And then this is the thing, and Frama 007 said something just there, saying people still think that our players are world class. Like this is the thing. We've got to be realistic about the personnel that we've got in key positions at the moment. You're playing two wingers as centre forwards when both of them naturally want to drift to the right hand side. You've got three midfielders who none of them is your traditional playmaker. None of them is your traditional number 10. You've got a six. You've got a six that likes to get forward, and you've got James Ward-Prowse, who's probably a box-to-box midfielder. But none of them is your player that's going to create loads. So it's no wonder we had 5 shots in the first half. We created 2 big chances. We took both of them. You've got a 19-year-old at left wing back. You've got a right back who supposedly can't go forward at right wing back. And we scored 2 goals in the first half. Like, from my perspective, we've done the job in the first half. Let's just not lose the game. And let's start just building a bit of momentum going forward.
But let me put this to you.
That's right.
Right, let me put this to you. Newcastle at home, Monday week. How do you set up against a side that will come forward? They've got a quality striker up front. How do you go about that game? Because the only way I see this going is he's just going to consistently play this 5-3-2 or 3-4-3 or however you want to put it. Like, people say it's 3-4-3 in an attacking sense. I say it's a 5-3-2 because when you're defending, they're all back in the back 5. So
it's 5-3-2. It's clear. It's clear to see. Like from again, like if from camera angles and stuff, it might look different, but from the angle that I have, it's clearly a 5-3-2. And mate, I've got no issue. Back-to-back wins. Why would you change your winning team? Not conceded a goal in over 3 hours. Why would we change that going against Newcastle? Newcastle team who are going to be tired, by the way, and who are they're playing in the FA Cup. They're pushing towards Champions League. They're going to be tired. I don't know if Isak's going to be fit. Why would we not sit back? And I say that it plays more into our hands, having them push further forward at us playing that formation. Opens the space for Kudus. It didn't suit Kudus last night because he's not that player. He's better in a team where you need to counter-attack quicker. He'll have more space to start a counter-attack. Bowen will go forward and it will create more for us. So I say same again.
Before I let Adam land on anything else he wants to say, for me, I don't know how long this is going to last in the fan base. I think they're starting to turn now. I'm not going to turn on this geezer, but I'm entitled to turn around and say it was shit last night, as in performance level.
Yeah.
Like, result-wise, excellent. Performance-wise, I'll give it a 6. Like, against a Leicester side that are holding 3s and 4s and getting slapped up. And, like, if we was carving them up every single time, I can understand it, but we just wasn't. And it was more sort of get the first goal, see what he can do with the second goal. Once we got the second goal, shut up shop and let him come and have a go. And that was it. And it just faded out. Adam, what you saying? Anything else you want to add on?
I'll just basically echo. I think like the performance yesterday, it was easy pickings, wasn't it? They were so poor, Leicester. I was expecting them to have a bit more fight in them, being a relegation battle, and I just feel it like even Robbie Savage said on the comms last night, like they just gave up. They gave up. Like they had a couple of chances. Like even some of their players were not even controlling the ball properly. Like they've got like 10 out of the 10 odd games left, and they've just given up the ghost. Like they're just like, okay, well, Championship next year, and Ruud van Nistelrooy ain't doing nothing, is he? Like, and I think West Ham looked at that last night and thought, you know what? Why should we try hard? We don't need to try hard to get this result. And then, reserve energy. You can take your most valuable players off and influential players off, protect them from bookings, protect them from injuries. There was nothing to risk last night because Leicester didn't really come out the traps and give us a game.
I just want to get to his comment from Oscar. Shout out to Oscar.
Oh, mate.
I think you're expecting too much too soon. I think next season is when we should be pumping teams. I disagree on that. I have to disagree on that because when you're playing a Leicester City side that are getting piped every other week And when I look at the likes of Bowen, Kudus, Prowse, we've got some good players in our ranks, yeah. And it just didn't feel like it just felt like it was just a job done. I'm just going to get the job done and move on. Like, it was a job done game rather than let's open ourselves up. Listen, we ain't going down, right? That's been confirmed over the last 2 wins. Yeah, there's no way that I think West Ham are going to go down. If we'd have lost these 2 games, then I would have been shitting myself thinking, fuck me, it could happen. West Ham ain't going down, right? So I think we're just going to cruise to about a mid-table finish. But my argument is, and I will stick it to everyone in the chat, is when do you go and open yourself up against a side, right? Or is it just basically nick a goal, nick another goal, shut up shop, and basically see what's going to happen?
At the end of the day, James and Jay, I think Oscar's right in what he's saying. I think there is a lot of high expectation, but let's not forget, I think when Potter come in, it was about staying up. But then as soon as he's staying up, he's got an extended pre-season effectively, hasn't he? So he needs to know that's when he can start testing things and testing new players and academy players to come in the mould a bit more often. Like, it's so hard to judge at the minute because there have been plenty of times this season under J-Lo where we should have got the job done and we didn't. And, like the Leicester result, like the reverse fixture, like we played them off the park. I think their goalkeeper was man of the match that game. He kept every shot that we had out, really, effectively, and they had 3 chances and scored from all of them. But, I think, again, it's just, I think in terms of what we can achieve this season, like, we ain't going to get top 10. We ain't going to get relegated. So we're in a bit of a flux mode at the moment in terms of where we kind of fit. Souček, like I said last night, he wants to finish above Spurs. That's the ambition this year. So I think everyone just needs to kind of calm down a bit. We've had a really terrible summer in terms of recruitment wise. We've sacked the manager. We're not really, it's the quickest we've ever sacked a manager in the club's tenure. It's the shortest ever manager we've ever had. Potter's come in. He's trying to fix the cracks and then hopefully build off that. I mean, let's see what happens in the summer, James, because I think I think he's just doing the safe job now, which needs to be done, because then we can focus on the next season properly. But at the end of the day, we just need to look at it as an extended pre-season. Let's enjoy the football. Well, say enjoy the football. This is the whole debate, isn't it? But I think there's nothing to worry about at the minute.
Yeah, but
the game was deflating last night. Admittedly,
but the problem is with this is that, are we going to see another situation when the other manager got sacked, not the failed one, the other one who won us a trophy? He got sacked because he wasn't entertaining enough. Yeah. Are we going to have this down the road in a year's time? Am I going to be sitting here in February 2026, yeah, saying, fuck me, like, we've got a situation again where people are not happy with the style of play? Because this style of play bollocks that I keep hearing is like, it does become draining. And I remember it with Moyes. And I'm not saying any. Listen, last night was a good victory, but for me personally, I said it on the preview, I want West Ham to go through this fucking team and go through them properly and not like be pragmatic to a point. I think there's time and a place to be pragmatic. Like, if you're playing an Arsenal or a Chelsea away from home, fucking be as pragmatic as you like. But when you're playing a bottom half side, especially a relegated, threatened side, I expect West Ham to be better than that. Like, maybe I'm over sort of expectations of West Ham. Maybe like that's me, but I just need a bit more, just a bit more from me, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Anyway, chaps, we're gonna have to shoot off. Thanks for letting us come on, and we'll chat again soon.
No worries. Take it easy, man.
There's 2 things to pick up on what you said there. First of all, yes, February 2026, you're going to be having this debate. You're going to have the same division in the fan base, because people need to be realistic with their expectations. People are not realistic with what they want to see. And I hear what you're saying. I totally accept your points. That last night's when you want to see us proper go for it and proper turn a team over. I agree with you, but I think it's too soon in the dare I say process. No one come at me with trust the process bollocks.
It's not trust
I
the
went
process.
to say the word. I went to say the word, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh god, I'm going to say the P word.
Yeah.
But I personally think it's too early for us to be looking at that. Let us not forget two things, right? We were 16th in the table going into that game. We are the 5th worst team in the Premier League. Like, let's not forget that. We have no right to be expecting to pump anyone at the moment. As much as if you were going to, that's the game. We still have no right to expect that. 2-0 up at half time, I'm fine with us sitting back and winning the game 2-0. The second thing to remember, and someone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, because as far as I remember, Potter's 2.5-year contract has break clauses in it based on achievements and performance. So he will have a KPI to hit, which will either be win percentage, league position, something along those lines. All he needs to do is hit those KPIs and his contract becomes that 2.5-year contract. So as far as he's concerned, if you're 2-0 up at half time, what point and purpose is there to taking a handbrake off and trying to pump a team 5-0 when, as I say, all it takes is one ball over the top to Jamie Vardy, it's 2-1, and suddenly you're shitting yourselves for the last half an hour. Like we've got to factor that in. And someone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that's the details of Potter's contract.
I think you're not far wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's get to this comment. He's calling me mum in second name. Thank you. Boring football was acceptable under DM. What's the issue, mate? DM won us a fucking trophy. That's the issue. Do you know what I mean? And DM was the best manager that we had in the Premier League era. Do you know what I mean? And there's no one else who comes close. And anyone who says Harry fucking Redknapp, he was as bent as a fucking ruler. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not being rude. I will sort of say it with Moyes, because Moyes give us a standard that Potter's going to have to match. Do you know what I mean? The reason why people moan is because they want to go back to that standard. And they don't like to admit it, but the Scottish bastard is the reason why we want that standard. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can't moan at a standard and then have a manager who gives you that standard, and then when he leaves, Graham Potter comes in, because I ain't going to fucking class Lopetegui, but Graham Potter comes in, he's got to get to that standard again. He really has. I'm going to say this, to move on from the boring football debate. Let's talk about some players, because you did mention it earlier about Mavropanos getting booed. You was there last night. I've also seen some people slagging off Souček. All he does is fucking score and he's shit, basically. What is going on with our fan base in regards of keep knocking players who, like, listen, Mav is an interesting one. I don't like Mav. Yeah, I don't like him as a player. I don't think he's good enough. Would I ever boo him entering the field of play? I don't think I would, because he's there to do a job. Like, I need him to perform. Yeah. But the Souček one baffles me, because this man pops up, scores goals, and he just doesn't get no credit for it, mate.
Let us not forget, Thomas Souček is close to the amount of goals that Paolo Di Canio scored for West Ham. Let us not forget that. What is he on now? He's approaching 40 Premier League goals, somewhere around there. People need to put some respect on his name sooner rather than later. I thought in the first half he was excellent. I thought he was absolutely excellent in that first half. Like as I said before, leading up to his goal, his interplay with Bowen on that right-hand side was perfect. Ball comes across, comes back, he's right place, right time. What more do people want? Like I say, you look at the way that we set up yesterday. What more do you actually want? You needed someone who was going to be right place, right time. And we'll come back to the individual players very, very shortly. But at the same time, if we were going to look at who was going to score the goals last night, our only two real goal threats in that team were Bowen and Souček. And both of them popped up. Bowen's goes down as an own goal, but I'll class it as Bowen's. Bowen and Souček are the ones that pop up with the goals. Kudus is bereft of confidence. We can't keep relying on our right back to come up and score goals. Ollie Scholes is 19 years old. Ward-Prowse hasn't scored all season. Alvarez hasn't scored all season. So there was only two guys that were going to score for you last night, and they both did. Souček is always there when you need someone to be there. I'm not going to say he's the most exciting footballer in the world. I'm not going to say he's technically the best footballer in the world, but I thought the way he got on the ball in the first half was excellent. He did everything he needed to do. And we've done the conversation about second half performance. It was pragmatic. Nobody blew our socks off in the second half. That's fine. So I don't really know why Souček's copped any flack for last night. Scored a goal on his birthday. Someone mentioned he was very respectful with his celebration. He didn't do the helicopter thing. Fair play. Model professional. Loves the club. Got nothing but good things to say about Thomas Souček. Mavropanos. He's not good enough. He's had a bad season. I wouldn't like. I'm quite hopeful that we move him on for good money in the summer. If he stays, he stays. Does not deserve the reception he got last night. It's absolutely disgraceful from our fans. Especially it's because people have got no idea what they actually want.
Yeah, especially when you're in battle.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? You're in the middle of a game and you've got a player coming onto the field of play who you want to be on the best of his game, and then you've got some fucking wanker in the crowd going boo. I don't think I've ever booed anyone, even on a live stream. I'd never do it because I just think you're a fucking div. Do you know what I'm saying? If you do that, like if you're sitting there literally booing the man coming on, listen, if he acts like a prick and he can't defend, you can slag him at the end of the game when the damage is done, and you can sort of give him a bollocking then. But not when he's coming onto the field when we're 2-0 up, and one lack of like concentration from him is 2-1, and then his head's all over the place. He's got a fan base that half of them don't like him. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know, Jay. It just feels very pantomime villain type shit, and it shouldn't be, if that makes sense.
Do you know what I liken it to? This happened couple of 2-3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I can't remember. Spurs fans booed their own player so badly when he came off that he cried. Like that's how bad it was. I'd have to look up who it was, but I distinctly remember it. I got a lot of Spurs fans and they were embarrassed of their fan base that day because it was the same kind of situation. I'm sure it was a centre back who was having a bad game, had a bad
Sanchez.
season. But yeah, Davinson Sanchez. There you go.
I'm sure it's Sanchez.
That's probably right. Yeah. And he was pony. He wasn't doing it on purpose. He wasn't giving the ball away on purpose. He wasn't costing goals on purpose. He was still trying, and he got booed off by his own fans, and he cried his eyes out. Like, is that what we're becoming? Are we becoming Spurs fans? Is that what we're likening ourselves to now? Anyone who finds themselves booing their own player, like, make as much noise to cheer your own players. Start singing some songs around the stadium. Maybe the atmosphere will pick up. But if I can hear people booing, but I can't hear the same people singing, then there's a serious problem about like certain fans at our club. It's not acceptable any day of the week. And if you want to turn up and boo players, I'd rather sit next to an empty seat, to be honest.
I understand what you're saying. I don't get that. I really don't. That's one thing that I would probably never do. Like, I've never done it, and I'll probably never do it. Like, I wouldn't sit there and if I dislike a player, maybe it's just a younger generation, like fuck knows. But I just wouldn't do it. I'm going to get to this comment, right? And I see it come up. And I do make him right with what he's saying. How can the team expect us to raise the atmosphere in the bowl when the other team is blatantly non-existent and we can't raise ourselves more than that? Do you know what I'm saying? So basically what you're saying is how can we raise the atmosphere when the game's flat? If that makes sense.
I mean, the game was brilliant in the first half. I'm not being funny. We were excellent in the first half. We controlled the whole game. Like, Leicester had like one attack at the start of the game, and otherwise we completely controlled it, and we scored twice. Like, I don't. I take the comment. I accept the comment, but I don't agree with it. I agree it was flat in the second half, but I thought the atmosphere was pretty consistent throughout. I thought the Ironworks Alliance lads, I could see them giving it a go all game. I could see pockets in the Bobby Moore lower giving it a go as well. I can see fans at the other side. I can't hear them because the acoustics in the stadium don't allow the sound to travel that well. But I can see fans at the other end of the pitch like giving it a go. So, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree.
What do you? I see a comment last night from a young lady who sort of said she was in the crowd and someone was slagging off Emerson, and basically said he was he was at fault. He could have been at fault for the European Cup final. Right? Did you see that comment? And I
saw the comment just before we came on.
Yeah,
before we came on.
Basically, I put a video up because he was the fucking man of the match. One thing that his fan base has got to stop doing, and I'm going to be straight, is fucking lying. Stop lying, right, for a start, because anyone who was slagging Emerson off for that cup final in 2023 is a fucking idiot. Yeah, because he was man of the match in that game, right?
It weren't close as well. It weren't close. He was the best player on that pitch by a mile.
And that clip that I've got, anyone who follows me on X, go over and go into the replies and you see the clip that I put up. Yeah, and that's from UEFA. Do you know what I'm saying? So UEFA have done a thing, like a sort of segment on Emerson's performance in that game. And I thought, right, I like the music on that. And do you know what I mean? I'll go down that route. But no, people got to stop fucking lying. Do you know what I'm saying? One thing I'm going to talk about before we come towards the end is the concessions and the victory of the individuals who have been fighting this cause for a long time. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Where's your clapping soundboard thing?
Oh, no, it's
Where's
here.
that? Where's
Let's get
that?
it.
Honestly, unbelievable. Who is it? The Save Our Concessions campaign, Hammers United, everyone who's been working on that behind the scenes. Unbelievable work. This is the start of what hopefully will be a better relationship between the club and the fans. Like I say, I'm a season ticket holder. Freezing season ticket prices as well. Excellent. That's exactly what we deserve as fans. We've been getting fleeced all season. They've listened to feedback, and it's because of the guys. Every time outside the Aquatic Centre, there's always people there with the Save Our Concessions banner. Every game, uniting with away fans. There's been a league-wide campaign. You see fans uniting over it. Liverpool were the first club to do it. We followed suit pretty quickly. It's a massive, massive win. We're going to need stuff like this. We're going to need this unity in the fan base, and we're going to need the next generation of West Ham fans. But we're going to need like us to be able to teach them the right way to support West Ham, not boo our own players and stuff like that. But we're going to have that opportunity now because concessions are still a thing. So long may it continue, and long may the great work of those people continue as well. So absolutely delighted for them.
Yeah, shout out to all them people. Hammers United, Save the Concessions on X, Alliance, basically also, who basically done a really good job on that. Yeah, listen, I think they've done a really good job, like extremely good job, and got the job done. If I'm being honest, do you know what I'm saying? Any final words from you, Jay?
Oh, I've said a lot. I've said a lot today. Chat.
No,
I appreciate everyone's opinions. This is the first time I've properly been like wound up after 2 wins in a week because I could not believe the discourse in some of the fan base. It's good to have sensible debates about our opinions. I will die on this hill. I do not give a flying fuck what the style of football is, as long as we win games of football. If we win every game boringly, if we're 2-0 up at half time every week and then we're boring, I'm happy, lads. 2 wins in a week, no goals conceded in 3 hours. Long may it continue.
Question, James. My worry is it just a delay by Sully due to pressure? I personally hope not. Do you think that's true in regards to the ticket prices?
Potentially. I think that's a really good point. But what we've shown is that they will listen to us. So that they do. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're worried. Maybe they've seen some of the conversations around the fan base that was getting more and more serious about what we needed to do. If it's a delay tactic and he tries it again, then like we know that this fan base can unite when we have a common cause, and that common cause is safeguarding our long-term support and respecting the over 65s who've supported this club their entire life. So we've proven that we can do it. And if they delay it and then try something else in the future, we've proven that we'll do it again as well. So, you know,
I agree. I'm very pleased and happy for all them people that have put the work in to sort of win this battle. I did say it, I've said it for quite a long time. Like, if we all come together and be West Ham United, like we'll get what we fucking want, and eventually they've got what they want. How long it lasts, I don't know. If West Ham have a good season, I see a comment there just a minute ago, and if we have a good season, do the ticket prices go back up again? Probably, yeah, but we're gonna have to fight that down the road a bit more. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's a ever sort of worldwide thing at the minute, especially in the Premier League. Seems like ticket prices going up through the roof everywhere. Do you mean from your Leicesters all the way up to like your Crawley towns? Like everywhere's putting their prices up, and eventually it's going to be just not sustainable. Do you know what I mean? Just for the normal person, and also it doesn't help when your season ticket prices or your season ticket renewals are down massively by thousands. So it's going to be interesting to see. Jay, thank you very much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Are you going to miss West Ham, Jay? Before we go, are you going to miss West Ham because we don't play till Monday week now?
I'm gutted we're not in the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. It's a great competition. I'm gutted we're not in it. I will miss it. It's like I say, back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. I'm delighted. The players have probably earned a well-deserved rest now. I hope they do a recovery session today and get the whole weekend off and get a chance to chill out. I'm going to chill out. No, this is the first weekend in a long time I'm not going to drink, and my liver is going to thank me. So yeah, I'll miss it. I'm sad we're not in the FA Cup, but I'll look forward to Monday Night FC. Newcastle, West Ham, Monday Night FC. Cannot
Only
wait.
one defeat this season that we've had on Monday nights, and that was Chelsea. And even then, we got conned. I've just got to say a few things. First things first, Lucas had a great trip over here. He has gone home today. He's gone back to the US of A. And I will be getting on here when he gets back. Do you know what I mean? He wanted to thank everyone who he's bumped into, and he's probably on the big plane traveling across the Atlantic. Do you know what I'm saying? And listen, subscribe to the channel, like the video, goes a long way, really helps me out. I've got a question. Does anyone want me to do a Grand National watch along? If you do, let me know, because I might do a Grand National watch along, Jay. I'm tempted. I'm tempted, but we're going to see what happens. By the way, I thought it was your nickname. Yeah, I'm named after a disease, Rich. Fuck me. Cheers. Who knew? Anyway, from me to you, take care of yourselves out there. Me and Jay are out of here. Don't know when we'll be back, but we will see you again soon.